Kevin and Brenda Davis have been running Ironman Ironworks since 1989.
We do ornamental iron, all types of alloys, all your welding and fabrication, fencing, chain link. I love it. I just think that it's so beautiful.
The business is going well now, but there was a time when the Davises needed a loan to keep the business going. But they had no credit and no collateral, so they turned to Hal Taussig and his Idyll Foundation.
Hal graciously lent us $20,000, and with a payback of 5 years with a 2% interest, without a lot of paperwork.
Hal has lent more than $5 million to small businesses in the United States and in developing countries.
My goal was, for one thing, to find a place for all this money that was piling up, but the goal was basically to adjust economic injustice. That I wanted, if we say capitalism is a good thing, why isn't it a good thing for the poor? So I decided I wasn't going to give money away. I was going to remain a capitalist, remain a businessman, and take that business mentality to the poor.
The Idyll Foundation gets its money from Idyll Untours, a unique service offering independent travel with support.
Wie long liegt es denn im
24 Stunden.
24 Stunden. So it's 24 hours.
We try to get people close to the cultures which they're visiting, and we do this mainly by having them live in vacation apartments.
Hal founded Untours at age 50 after spending a sabbatical year abroad.
And I was able to do it on half teacher salary. Part of the motivation was to find ways to help teachers who didn't have a lot of money travel, and that's always been my philosophy. You can have a richer experience and a richer travel experience if you spend less money.
Untours seem to agree. In 2005, 45% of Untours' business was from repeat customers. Jerry and Sandy Nolan have come back to Switzerland every year for 10 years now.
During the 9/11 crisis, we happened to be here, and we were to fly out on 9/12. Obviously, we weren't going anywhere. Zurich was a mess. You couldn't figure out what was happening, and Idyll invited us back to our hometowns here. We came back to the same chalet we've been renting. They gave it to us free. They paid for the extra hotel in Zurich while we were milling around waiting. We thought that was such a fine gesture that it just cemented our relationship, would you say?
Mm-hmm. And now we give to the foundation also.
Yeah, we do.
Hal Taussig is a successful businessman. He's made millions with Idyll Untours, but he's a different kind of capitalist. He doesn't keep any of his profits.
Well, basically, I didn't see myself as a businessman. I didn't fit with my image of myself. I wanted to be socially constructive, but now I find myself, I must say, feeling that business people can do more than anybody else to make this a better world, because progressive business people have their hands on more potential power to change the world for good than philanthropy or tax money does.
Hal Taussig wasn't always a success. He was born on a cattle ranch, and when his father died, he tried to carry on the family business. But the bottom fell out of the cattle market.
We also bought a registered Hereford bull, expensive bull, who was sterile. So I like to think about the ironies of life. If my bull hadn't been sterile, I might still be a cattle rancher.
Then he became a teacher.
Then I started teaching school while I was still ranching to support my family, and realized I was not only supporting my family but also supporting my cows.
So Hal moved east, earned a PhD from the University of Pennsylvania, and became a college professor at a small Catholic school. But after Vatican II, he lost his job for his efforts to liberalize the curriculum.
That's when I decided, well, maybe I should invent myself another career.
Hal says running Untours fulfills his life's mission.
I've always kind of felt like I whatever I did to earn a living had to be for me, woven into the meaning of my life. And when I found that this was a way of broadening people's life, and I felt that in one sense I wasn't really leaving education.
In 1999, Untours was awarded the Newman's Own Award as the most generous company in America, presented by Paul Newman and John Kennedy Jr. At age 80, Hal Taussig rides his bike to work every day.
I rode my bike because the last car I owned, I gave away to a hitchhiker. And then I learned how much I got more pleasure out of riding the bike than I did riding a car anyhow, and good for my health and good for the world and good for my pocketbook and fun.
Elizabeth Killough helps Hal run the Idyll Foundation.
He's incredible because he walks his talk better than anyone I know. From riding his bike to work in the heat, on the ice and the snow, to having an Untours office where worms are composting in the kitchen, no piece of paper gets recycled till it's used on both sides. And of course the most obvious of his giving all of his money away. I mean, no one walks their talk like that.
Hal's daughter, Marilee Tausigg, works for Untours. She and her siblings know that Hal won't be leaving them any money. All of his assets will go to the foundation.
Would I say no if he changed his mind? Absolutely not. Thanks, Dad. Glad to have it. But I think in the long run, having a dad who he is a bigger legacy for me than any amount of money. My dad's taken risks all his life, and he's lived by his principles all his life. And those are two things that are going to hold me in good stead in moments of crisis.
Hal Taussig has run his business and lived his life according to his spiritual values. And he's made a lot of friends that way.
Personally, I really love Hal. He's come to my church to worship with me. I've called him on numerous occasions on things that I needed his advice for, to ask him just, what do you think? And just personally, I really love him. He's just a great person. I can't describe. I've been to his home, I've ate there, and I just would like to have more interaction with him, and I am going on one of his Untours one day.
Andrew Carnegie even he said he wanted to give away all of his wealth before he died. So I'm pretty good company.